Alright. Let's see who we have here. Ryan Grant, injured reserve. Maurice Jones-Drew, not much of anything there. Clinton Portis hurt his ass too. Frank Gore didn't find the end zone. Michael Turner, under 50 yards rushing. Chris Johnson. That right there on Sunday, that's the way you play Philadelphia Eagles football. And that's exactly the reason I break down 3 keys to victory every week. Key to victory number 1, don't let them score on the opening drive. Well, they didn't score on their opening drive. In fact, it took them a while to just score at all. Key to victory number 2, control Michael Turner and the Atlanta Falcons run game. Well, you put up enough points on them where the run game started to be ineffective. And Michael Turner was only able to rattle off 45 yards on 15 carries. Key to victory number 3, he who wins the turnover battle wins the game. And that's exactly what the Eagles did. And in doing so, put on one of the most dominant performances this year against one of the NFC's top teams. But now that we've taken care of the top team in the NFC South, it's now time to take care of one of the top teams in the AFC South. But this week, instead of going over all of the Tennessee Titans stats and all of the individual players, I'm going to take this opportunity to put my 2 cents in on the hot topic around the NFL since last Sunday. Helmet-to-helmet hits. Brace yourselves, because I'm not going with the popular opinion on this one. And I know you guys are going to say that I should be more upset because it's one of our guys that now is going to miss action because of one of these vicious defensive hits. But I'm actually going to take the DB side on this one. I mean, really, is this what it's come down to? You can't put a hit on a receiver anymore? Oh no, you can tackle a receiver now. You just can't lead with your helmet. I don't know. I just don't know how you're supposed to play defense anymore in the NFL. They tell you not to lead with your helmet. I got news for you. Every single tackle ever made was led with the helmet. That's where your eyes are connected. It's just the nature of the beast. Even if you're making an arm tackle, you're still leading with your helmet. But they'll be the first ones to tell you, oh, lead with your shoulder, lead with your shoulder. I got news for you. When you got shoulder pads on, your helmet is about 6 inches away from your shoulder. So between the instance of this and this, if the wide receiver moves, if he ducks, if you miscalculate, a shoulder-led hit like the one Dunta Robinson had against Deshaun Jackson, all of a sudden becomes a $50,000 and possibly game-suspending hit. Then I know I should be more upset because it's one of my guys and he's going to miss a couple weeks of play. But believe me, Dunta Robinson did not mean to put that kind of hit on Deshaun Jackson. How do I know? Because not only did he knock Deshaun Jackson out, he knocked himself out of the game. And probably next week's game too. Let's be honest here. The game of football is based off of a very physical and very violent history. That's the whole reason the forward pass was created, literally. Back when it was just college football. There used to be 11 guys on offense and 11 guys on defense. And then they just kind of jammed and banged their heads in the middle, and some guy on offense would take this oblong-looking pigskin thing and jam it in the middle. And there were documented cases of college kids getting paralyzed. There was documented cases of college kids getting killed on the football field. That's the reason the forward pass was created, to help protect some of the offensive players. But unfortunately for the defensive players, ever since the forward pass was created, they've been taxing, they've been fining, and they've been penalizing the defensive players for the type of physical play that brought this sport to popularity. I mean, first you got the Night Train Lane rule, and then you got the Mel Blount rule. I mean, what are we going to have next? The Harrison rule? The Dunta Robinson rule? I mean, I know I'm not that old, but I can't help think but how it was back in the day. I mean, did anybody tell Eagles defensive back Bill Bradley that he couldn't put a lick on a receiver? Did anybody tell Andre Waters or Wes Hopkins in the 90s that you had to wait until the receiver caught the ball and made a football move to hit him? And I think probably the best example of this is, did anybody tell Brian Dawkins that he could not lead with his helmet? And Brian Dawkins is the best example out of the three. Because here's a guy whose career consisted of a highlight reel on how to knock offensive players out. And even though we loved him here in Philadelphia, around the rest of the league several times throughout his career, Brian Dawkins was known as a little bit of a dirty player because he always led with his helmet. Oftentimes he'd leave his feet when making a hit on a receiver. You know, and maybe it's a good thing that Brian's getting old and only has a few years left in him. Because if he was to play in his prime under a Roger Goodell system where defensive backs were not only fined but suspended for hits put on receivers, I can think of four plays off the top of my head where Brian Dawkins would have been suspended for his play on the football field. And a lot of you are going to tell me I'm wrong, and that's okay. But personally, I just can't do it. I can't cheer Brian Dawkins on for as long as he played and all of the great but borderline hits that he made, and then 2 years after he leaves Philadelphia to be up in arms because the Falcons defensive back made a split-second decision, made a poor decision, and he should be fine, but made a split-second decision and knocked Deshaun Jackson out of the game. I literally have no idea how a defensive back is supposed to play under these rules. I have no idea, because besides quarterback, defensive back is the second hardest position to play on an NFL field. It's easier to play receiver than it is defensive back. As a receiver, you already know where you're going. You already know which route you're running based off the coverage that you see. And once you get the ball in your hands, you know where your blockers are going to be. You know where the safety's going to be. You know where you're headed with the ball. The sole purpose behind a defensive back, whether it be cornerback or safety, is to read and react all in a split second. And that's why playing defensive back is so hard. Because the defensive back lives between the point where the ball's thrown to the receiver catches it. Bang, boom. And when all that's said and done, and it's now time for that defensive back to make a play and separate the ball from the receiver, he now, in the back of his mind, has to think about getting fined $50,000 or suspended if he makes a miscalculation within a split second and has a helmet-to-helmet hit. So now that I'm done with my helmet-to-helmet rant, here is how the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Tennessee Titans. Key to victory number one is the play of the offensive line. Congratulations, O-line. You only gave up 1 sack versus the Atlanta Falcons. But unfortunately, you're still 31st in the NFL in sacks allowed. And while you guys did impress me, I do got to give you credit. You look good out there. The defensive line of the Tennessee Titans is a lot more quicker, athletic, and a lot more tricky than the defensive line of the Atlanta Falcons. Key to victory number two goes right along with number one. The passing offense has to be accurate, on point, and effective to win this game. Because the Tennessee Titans are very stout against the run, but they're ranked 23rd against the pass. Now last week against an Atlanta Falcons defense that was only giving up 14 points a game, you put them through an aerial assault that I'm pretty sure they just didn't see coming. And if you're able to have the same effectiveness against the Tennessee Titans with play-action pass, with misdirection plays, with 3-step drops, and beat the blitzing defenders and the stunting linemen of the Tennessee Titans, you're going to be able to put some points up against this defense. Key to victory number three. It's a reoccurring theme. It's a little redundant, but it's important. You have to stop the run game. And so far in 2010, we've taken some pretty good running backs, some top-tier running backs, and completely shut them down. And if you think about it, Frank Gore, Michael Turner, Maurice Jones-Drew, none of them were able to accomplish anything against the Philadelphia Eagles. But if you can stop Chris Johnson, that's the feather in the defense's cap. So here it is, the mighty EROCKs, Week 7. Jesus Christ, we're already on Week 7? I got the Eagles winning this game in a defensive battle, 20-17. This week's Facebook Friday prize will be a game day program from the Atlanta Falcons game right here at Lincoln Financial Field, autographed by South Philly legend, former Eagles special team ace, and man behind the movie Invincible, Vince Papale. And some other Eagles stuff, I just haven't figured out what I got yet. So check out my Facebook page every Friday morning for the Facebook Friday question. Every Friday morning, right guys? I have to apologize. I did it on Saturday for the last 2 weeks. Oops. If you want your Mighty EROCK Dallas Suck stickers, email me at themightyerock@yahoo.com. Let's go Birds, and I will see you after the bye.